All right, my friends, so every skate park brings about its own challenges, especially if you've never been there. So right here is San Dimas Skate Park. The dimensions of this park are very sharp. The bowls are mellow and the ground is super rough. So today is about figuring out this park, finding a flow, and we're gonna start off by just trying to touch every little piece of this park with the intention to, you know, put everything together at the end and find like a 10-trick line, right? I'm not expecting to be really good at this park or skating this park, but at the very least the intention is to start somewhere. And so today my first victim is going to be this bank right here in the middle. So I want us to come over here and see the dimensions of, you know, how little I need to clear, but also how steep the bank is. So I'm thinking we can go, I guess, on this side. What do you think? It's kind of over here. So basically all I have to clear is from here to here. It's like a board in a quarter length, and as you can probably tell, the angle is a bit sharp, right? So usually the skate parks I've been skating, even if they're sharp, the ground is kind of smooth, and so it's not that much of a challenge and it doesn't shake me off the board too easily. But here, you know, the challenge would be to keep the momentum or be comfortable stabilizing through that change of angle, right? Because it can easily knock you off. And so if you get to a park and you find the angles are different and it just feels weird to skate, or you feel uncomfortable, it's likely because you're not able to stabilize. And so figuring out how to stabilize through that transition or through those angles is super helpful when you first get to a park, because then as you go faster, you know, get a bit more technical, or even skate the banks, ramps to ledges or to obstacles like I did over there, the bank to rail, you know, things feel already familiar. You can reference how you're supposed to you know, approach the obstacles or those angles. And so we're gonna start off by just doing, you know, maybe an ollie. I'm gonna do a 180 coming back, and let's see if I can even do a back 180. Doing a kickflip on this transition, you know, I don't know how that's going to feel committing to, but at the very least I'll throw one out and we'll see from there, right? We're just starting at this, and for the sake of the video we're just going to choose 10 obstacles, all right? Or do you think maybe we should go on this side? What do you think? Let's go on this side. Sorry guys, I need to be a better director. So, okay. Yeah. MVP right here, MVP filmer. So you can see the angle a bit more. I'm gonna just ollie 180, back 180, and we're gonna see how a kickflip will feel or feels. Okay, so with the kickflip, because my foot position has to be so much more stable through the forefoot. The transition felt a bit rough or sharp, and it kind of jolted me where it didn't allow me to feel comfortable popping or snapping that flip. And so the feedback this gives me tells me I should just cruise around the park, work on more just ollie 180, back 180. Even the back 180 felt a little too sharp. I guess it's because I'm kind of going blindside, but regardless, you know, the step from there maybe wouldn't be to learn more tricks in this. It would be to get a better feel for the park and its angles, right? So that might mean I skate this obstacle, these obstacles right here, which are the pyramids. They feel pretty sharp. Skate other bumps like this one right here, where it goes to flat and it's not going back in a decline, and it's a bit safer, right? I don't want to injure myself. I want to lower that risk, if anything. And so you got to be patient with that process, and don't just don't just allow yourself to get into a battle right away, especially if it's a new park, and especially if you're barely getting comfortable with the type of obstacles, dimensions, and flow of the park. So we're just figuring it out, like I said. So we got one obstacle, right? The second obstacle, the second culprit is actually, we already did one obstacle, which is for the first clip. It's the bump to rail, so we'll count that. Bump to rail, this flat gap, I guess, pyramid flat gap, and then we're gonna see what it means to skate this ledge. This ledge is higher than any other ledge, and it can also be seen as a mani pad, and so just getting that flow is going to take its own time and its own patience. So I'm going to do regular mani, nose mani, switch, and let's just call it switch nose mani, right? You can either say it's either switch mani or fake mani, I guess. Nose mani and then mani. There we go, I said it correctly. So we're gonna do those 4, and then to get comfortable on the ledge, it's gonna be 50, back 50, switch 50, and switch back 50. And this also had me thinking of another point. Even learning how to go use the transition or the banks to get speed in parks like these are super beneficial, instead of relying on like a throw down push, if that makes sense. So you want to utilize the park so you can take your time to stabilize, instead of just rushing and resorting to habits that you've probably built because you just skate street or different parks. So use the park so that you can focus on the trick itself and not focus on getting enough speed. Okay, so as you can see, the nose mani, I utilized the bank, and the switch mani, I allowed myself to use this like kind of corner bowl area. But I learned the lesson. Maybe I shouldn't curve at it for a switch mani or a fakie mani. Instead, I should hit that quarter right there. So that's another little win, a little learned lesson, right? So I did nose mani. I guess I'll do fakie mani actually. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna do mani. All right, so the camera died. We're on the second phone. So what a fail. Damn, I think I hurt myself. Okay. I charlied my cat. Okay, so I thought this was gonna be easier. I'm gonna give it like 2 more tries, and if I can't do them, then we're gonna move on, because the whole point of this is to find a flow, test out the obstacles, not get into a battle. We're just trying to warm up to the park in a sense. know I definitely got it. Like I said, we're warming up to the park, finding the flow. We still got to test out the obstacle, but it turns out it's harder to skate it switch at the moment, or today at least. And so we're gonna move on to the grind. At least the 250s, 50 and the back, front 50 and back 50. Okay, that was way more challenging than I thought, but still, first try. There we go. So we got a feel for the third obstacle. Now my fourth victim is going to be here. So yeah. It's going to be this right here. This little, it's very short and steep. So I just want to at least do a back 180 on that. So we're going to get ourselves familiar with that angle and do, let me just say, four 180s on it. Remember what I said about getting speed for the obstacle instead of pushing. Ah, that was way too much. Okay. This is cool, this is fun. It's not so strenuous, but definitely a challenge though. So we're gonna get this switch back in 80. That's the fourth obstacle. Okay, as you can see, I'm not going so fast at it, and that's because I still have this very unstable approach to this. And the last thing I want to do is go backwards into the hubba. So I'm being patient, right? But I know I got this, even a little back 180 switch. Oh my goodness. Okay. I'm gonna give myself 2 more. Honestly, I feel I'm hesitating to go as high as I need to, so I have more time to wind up. And it seems like I'm giving the back too early to the obstacle instead of just opening up until it's time to do the 180. Alright, so that was definitely a bit better. The landing was sketchy. We're gonna give it one more time. Horrible. So the landing was much better, but the snap itself was not. So you can see it's very inconsistent, so unfamiliar, but it's still a challenge. And that's the whole point of doing this, right? Getting a feel for little obstacles that I gravitate to. You don't have to do it here. You can go to the rail, you can go to this ledge, to that bank, whatever it may be. It depends on what you gravitate to, you know, what your taste is. So we got the bump to rail, we got this pyramid like gap thing, we got the ledge mani pad. I guess that's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. That's 4. We got 6 more. Now I got this bank here. Ledge to bank. So I'm just going to do similarly to the ledge. I'm just do front stall and then back 50 stall. and we're gonna see. We're just getting a feel again. Now, I feel it's gonna seem, or it's gonna feel like I need to go fast, or I'm going fast, but really I need to go fast enough to catch a good snap and just make sure I'm going straight up and straight into that ledge instead of going towards it, because then I risk slipping into the ledge. And so for those reasons, I want to make sure that I'm always centered over that lead foot. Now, that's why we're staying basic right now. We want to make sure we are incorporating the concepts, fundamentals, and just our basic knowledge, and not getting ahead of ourselves, especially because we're just finding the flow here. So. Oh, that was scarier than I thought. Okay. Not the best, but it counts. Okay. Oh, all right. You guys could see how I didn't land on the ledge, so that was very dangerous, right? Which is super good that I wasn't going too fast, or I wasn't too heavy on the front, on the toe side, or else that could have been bad. All right, right here. Sick. Okay, so we got a feel for the obstacle. Obviously this can take longer or shorter depending on how natural this begins to feel from the first contact, and many times, you know, there's parks that you go to and there's no need for this, you know, one obstacle at a time. This is just an approach, right? Something you can take with you if you're really struggling to figure out how to find the flow at a park. So here's number 5 obstacle. Number 6, let's do, let's see. Number 6, let's do this bowl over here. So every bowl is over here. Every bowl, if you can call this a bowl, I don't know if I'm gonna get, I guess, some slack for this. You want to help up? You know, it's not steep, but it's perfect for skaters like myself who kind of stay away from bowls, but still want a little bit of the taste, some introduction. So here we're gonna get a feel for the transition, you know, how much I need to pump, or just how comfortable this feels. So we're gonna do some 50 stalls, and I'm gonna say I'm gonna do 5 stall tricks, right? Oh my god, horrible. But this is why we get a feel for it, because sometimes what you expect to be simple with obstacle at a new park becomes a bit more challenging than you expected. So we're warming up to it. 1, 2, 3. Oh. So I was expecting to do 5 in a row. I just did 3. So now we're gonna do a front 50 stall. Let's see how that goes. Okay, that felt kind of unsafe, but we're at 4. Now, 5, I guess I'll do 2 more, for 1 more for bonus, and it's not gonna be a coping, but we're gonna do 180. Wow, I'm very out of my comfort zone here, which is good. Let's do another one, because I really didn't like it. And actually, you know, just going switch there, that would be probably something I test out. Just dropping in switch. kick turn and switch. Oh my goodness. Sorry. Okay, you see what I mean? You can't underestimate things. You got to get a feel for it. At least it's a way to go about it. So here's victim number 5. We got the ledge, the bump to rail. That's 3. That pyramid, 4. Bank to ledge, 5. Oh, this is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, we're at 6. Okay, number 7. Oh my God. Okay, over here. Number 7 is going to be this right here. Just learning how to get speed with a pump into this bank. Right? I can play around with let's say all 4 stances of a pop. Popping off all 4 stances. So I'm gonna do a fake ollie into it. Right? Oh my God. What was that about? Fake ollie, switch ollie. These can be made more difficult or easier by just riding or flipping into it, right? Or 180s. Okay, now a regular ollie. I guess you can call it 2 obstacles because you can go down and you can come back up as well. But we're gonna count it as 1. Alright? And now nollie. Off the nose. Okay, so the challenge there was to see if I can do a trick into it and pump at the end, right? That way, if I want to combine this obstacle or skate this and skate through that with the trick, then I need to get myself familiar with that, with the speed and technique it takes to get enough momentum to get from here to there without pushing or, you know, any hesitation. So here we got 7 obstacles. Now we're gonna go back on that side and we're going to the ledge over there, that curved ledge. So let's walk, let's make our way over there. And really, this is just for, oh, I already mentioned it, this is for people or for skaters who are really having a hard time, you know, finding fun in their park, especially if they're limited to it. But even if they just end up going to a park with a group of friends that they can't seem to like or they don't initially like, this is a way to slowly get the park to rub off on you and you can start to enjoy it a bit more instead of just sitting down and avoiding progression. All right, so okay, we got 1, we got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 with what we just did. So here, getting comfortable with this curved ledge for me would be doing a 50 on both sides and seeing how far I go with very little speed. Okay, there we go. We can skate this ledge, you know, from the middle to the end one way, from the middle to the end the other way, or across both directions. So, and then a lot of different variations, you know, if you get creative. So that's another one. We tested it out real quick. How are we on time? 16. Okay, cool. So we got 8 here, right? We got 8, now 9. What's gonna be the 9th one? So 9th one is gonna be this. Right? I just filmed a video at Laverne Skate Park talking about how you got to make your own obstacles so that you can make boring parks fun and just create your own way of skating it, especially if you find a skater that you really get inspired or motivated after watching skate. or video part, and you can't seem to find ways to skate like them, then you got to make obstacles that imitate that. For example, a favorite skater of mine, at least growing up, was Mark Suchu, and I would always see him skate very sharp small banks into flat and then continue the line. So this kind of reminds me of Mark Suchu, and so this is an obstacle that I believe I can point out because of that inspiration. So we're just gonna keep it very light, 180 switch ollie, and I'm gonna see if I can do a front shove. All right. Oh my goodness, okay. I was way, just like every other obstacle, it's so much more challenging than I would have expected or guessed. Another way to skate it would be to go up the ledge and then into that small bank. So that's also another way to make a different obstacle, or skate that same area with a different approach. So okay, I said switch 180. This one's gonna be kind of like just interesting to feel out. Okay, so that was fun. Landing on that was a bit like intimidating, but still very fun. So we're gonna try one front shove, see how it goes. This one, it's an easy trick, but once you apply these tricks or try to attempt these tricks on in obstacles that aren't familiar, they become so much more challenging. And just, I guess, a side note, that's another way to get better at a trick you have very consistently. Challenge it, stress test it on an obstacle that you generally don't skate, or just a new obstacle you may have created from a different approach, just like this. So here we go. Yeah, that one is very trippy. I'm gonna try one more. I'm just thinking about going back into the ledge because I don't want to fly outside of it. So as soon as I pop, as soon as I'm landing, I'm going straight down into the ledge. Okay, I'm good with that. I'll save that trick for maybe when I do the flow line. That's 9, correct? Yes. So we got 9 obstacles. Let me just make sure. We got that bump. We got this 2. The pyramid 3. We got the bank 5. We got the ledge 6. Bowl 7. Bank or into the bank 8. This is 9 right here. And now the last one. I guess I can think about getting a bit more creative. So once I go down, the 9th one is going to be just kind of trying to get around the bowl. So like, I guess it's not really vert, but in the inner side of the bowl. And you'll see what I mean. Okay, assuming you've seen other skaters skate transition and bowls, I'm sure that was very underwhelming, but that's honestly very good progress for me, especially if I can end up doing that at the end of this line, right? At the end of these 10 tricks. That's gonna show me that I have a better understanding of the flow, and in the case I don't, then that just means I need more work to do, and I can still get so much more comfortable with the park. Regardless, we're not too focused on the goal, which is getting a flow at the park. We're focused on progressing, and the way we progress is by challenging ourselves to challenge is by the way we progress is by challenging ourselves to, you know, have a little bit of skating, you know, just skate every obstacle throughout the park, especially ones that don't seem very comfortable but still kind of grab our attention and you know, is aligned with the taste of skating we do, or with the style of skating we usually do. So here we go. Here's the challenge. I'm going to start on the bump and just make my way across those obstacles that I've skated. You can stay right here and you're just gonna zoom in and out right from here. Okay, so let's see. Comment how many tries. I'm not gonna do anything really difficult. Like I said, I just want to get through them, but we'll see what I end up with. You guys are gonna have a hard time seeing that pyramid. Maybe once I go down, you can kind of go over here to see that little corner, and you'll see me stall on that ledge right there, and then I'll make my way over. So you guys got to count 10. Little bonus trick. No. The goal is to get momentum, not to stop it. So we messed up already. Good challenge. So there you go. That was attempt number 2. Comment how many tries you think it'll take me to get through the whole 10 obstacles. I was going too fast for that switch 180, but I still attempted it. So. Guys, I now lead into it. Alright, that was horrible. I missed one, right? I missed this one, you see? Look. gonna give it one more attempt. That was like the fourth, I think, attempt, but I completely lost momentum going down into the little pyramid. It's a very big no-no. I rolled into that bowl super through the loss of momentum completely, and then, you know, coming back into trying to get to this mani pad, I was lost. So I was like, wait, where am I going? So you can see through my body language and just through that, basically that route I took, that I was completely fatigued, very uncomfortable, and definitely not in a flow state. So there's a lot of work to do, but like I said, we're gonna do it one more time and see how, you know, much more improvement we can get by just using the feedback I got right now. And hopefully I don't look so lost on this attempt. Minus points for that happening. Last try. Oh my god. Okay, let's go to the shade, please. Alright, so that was very challenging. So much more improvement, but I think with the feedback I got before this attempt, I was able to clean it up a bit. I did touch different obstacles in order to complement the flow I wanted to have, which honestly is fine, and that's something you discover when you just go about starting, right? So this approach is gonna help you just start. Just pick basically a starting point. That was so redundant. Okay, just start somewhere so that the goal itself is in progression, right? Otherwise, you're going to be having this goal that you haven't even started to progress at. And this is why, you know, I'm doing this video at a park that's very difficult for me to figure out how to skate, you know, aside from just picking my own obstacles and intentionally bringing down the technicality, but focusing a bit more on the flow. So it's not always about if you can do more flips or flips into grinds or flips out of anything. It's also, can you flow through a park and enjoy, you know, your own abilities in that sense or under that context. So having said that, hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you got out of it and how you're applying it. If you're interested in coaching or lessons, hit me up at profe.carlos or just let me know in the comments and I'll find a way to contact you. Profe.carlos on Instagram, profe.carloss. I do lessons all around LA. The first I've gone, I guess you can say, is like Fontana. I actually did a lesson in Phoenix. That was pretty cool. And also around like La Quinta, Palm Springs, those areas. So you know, I'm open to going to any park, especially if it's this, because I truly believe any place we choose to skate has the capability to teach us something and allow us to progress. Sometimes we feel limited, but it doesn't mean that's reality. It's just our perspective on it. So broaden your perspective, you know, think more abundantly and allow yourself to progress under any environment or any skate park, any street spot. So Hope you enjoyed the video again, and looking forward to seeing you in the comments, the lives, and as a member in the membership program that I'm going to be launching very soon. Peace out.